2.5 years of border restrictions have come to an end. Government data shows just how significant the border closures have been, with international arrivals dropping from almost 750,000 in January 2019 to get this an average of 10,000 per month for the following year. All tourists from non-visa waiver countries are now able to come here, as well as international students and cruise ships. And here to discuss is immigration consultant Howie. Yin Howie.
Good morning, Melissa. Good morning.
Howie, what difference do you think this border reopening will make?
Well, I think it's great, but what we see now is actually quite a long delay in terms of process. So we've done a few student visa, the 5,000 cohort student visa, and that take a long time, more than 3 to 4 months for them to come over to New Zealand. So what we are uncertain is about how long it'll take for immigration to process your student visa application and visitor visa application. So the border is open today. They can lodge a visa, but the problem is we don't know how long it'll take. So when a client asks how we're going to lodge a student visa application, we're going to come to see my parents or grandparents, how long it will take, we don't know. And when we call immigration, they can't tell us an answer. So that's the problem that we're facing right now, is that yes, you can lodge application, but it does take a long time, and we can't tell our client how long it will take. So that's the frustration.
So you're dealing with students. The other people you're dealing with, which will have opened up earlier this month, is the accredited employer visa. So what are you finding there in terms of people? Because that's the key. We've got workforce shortages. Healthcare, how are you finding that?
Yeah, so the procedure is more complicated, obviously, from one step to 3 steps. And so you've got employer accreditation, which is quite fast. Immigration has done a great job. But then you've got a job check. Immigration said they were going to done in 10 days, which is not true. So we've seen the job check taking longer than 3-4 weeks for them to process. For example, if you're a retirement village, you want to obviously get the caregiver on board as soon as possible, and this just won't happening. So we've lodged a job check application more than 3 weeks ago and still in the queue. And we have a licensed immigration advisor lawyers group as well. So I'll be chatting with other lawyers and immigration advisors about their speed as well, and the answer is the same. So the job check is taking longer than they promised.
So you're saying for a retirement village that desperately needs staff in, they are still waiting to get to the point where they can get approved to bring staff in?
That's right, the job check. And then you talk about the actual application, which can take another month or so. So you've got the accreditation, which take a week or so. Then you've got a job check, which take 2 weeks advertisement and 3-4 weeks a job check application. Then you talk about application, which on top of that could take about a month. So you're talking about a few months already for that 3 month process.
Goodness. Okay, coming back to the international students, are there students wanting to come here? We've had some would say damaging international headlines. Are they interested in coming?
Yes, we have seen some interest in students coming back to New Zealand, but some parents are concerned in terms of safety of New Zealand as well. So when they ask me, they say, how do you think it's a safe country? 5 years ago, I would say, yes, it is a safe country. Don't worry about it, your child will be here. But now I just can't say that because, I can't sell them because, we watch the news. It's not that safe anymore. So the parents are concerned. But yeah, obviously, we're still popular in, for the Chinese and Indian industry. Yeah.
There will be people watching this who will say, surely the countries that they are coming from, if you compare them, New Zealand is a safer country than that. But are you saying that the reputation has been...
Yeah, it has changed over the last year or so. Obviously we're seeing more and more robbery and, burglaries and people being attacked during the daylight, and then obviously the police officer was assaulted in the job was during the day as well. So these news are circulating around, ethnic, communities and Chinese and Indian, and obviously, it's not good.
And well, you would know because you used to be in the police force working as an Asian liaison officer.
Yes.
As you mentioned, just last week, a Chinese man was beaten outside a supermarket in what sounds like a race-related attack. An off-duty Indian officer was abused outside his son's school. Is this something that was common for you as a police officer?
Not when I was wearing uniform, obviously, but I do recall myself when I was off duty and with my son, then he was 2 or 3 years old, and I went to Limo, and it was during the day, and see the drunken, disorderly people started abusing everyone, not just me. They'll probably choose the weaker one, obviously. So they start to say, F words, and then, so I had to put my son back in the car, and then maybe I have to come up and deal with him, show him my badge. But I can imagine I'm a male, in the right age, I'm not weak or anything, but that thing could happen to an elderly person or people who don't speak English. So so that's the problem. It's that I am not personally scared of myself, but I do have concern for my partner and child, and in that situation. So I would often warn my partner, my parents, and say, look, you have to be careful around certain time and certain locations. But obviously, not everyone is educated in that way. So I do have concern, and then the problem is not getting better.
I imagine you must still keep in touch with some colleagues in the police force, and your work as an Asian liaison officer, you will know from that time. Do you feel there is enough resource in police to deal with these kinds of abuse and attacks?
Yeah, I think that the problem is that how to retain quality police officers, based on my experiences, is you've got a lot of experienced police officers, and I see them resigning and ask them why you resign. And at the time I had to resign was because I had an injury, and I had a young child, and then the money was just not there. I went to the supermarket. I have to really see how much money in my pocket. It just really can't support the family. So I think how to retaining staff is very important. And you have the quality staff, they can go out and educate people, crime prevention. So when I said I'm going to resign, no one is going to talk about why you want to resign. So I run in my own business now. If any one of our staff thinking about resigning, I would say, what can I do to keep you working for us? And then I think the police law enforcement should have the same thing too.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. I've been talking to a few people that left the police as well. I said, do you regret? And they asked me, do I regret? And then we're not regretting.
Goodness. Former Asian liaison officer in the police and immigration consultant Howie Yin. Appreciate your time, Howie.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to hear that kind of stuff.
It is, isn't it? When you want people to come into New Zealand, and so first of all they're asking about, are we safe? That's one concern. And the other thing is we want staff to come here, and we're finding that it takes so long to just get to the point where you can get sign-off to bring people in. Both of those are quite concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got anything you'd like to say on this, get in touch with us this morning. Feedback@amshow.co.nz. It's